Your soulmate may be preparing to return to your life. But there's something you should know. My beloved child. Pause for a moment. Not because you are being forced to stop, but because sometimes the quietest moments carry the loudest answers. There are seasons in life when silence feels endless, when memories return without warning, and when your heart begins asking questions that no one around you seems able to answer. This is one of those moments. Perhaps you have felt it already. Perhaps something has been shifting inside you these last few days. A memory appeared without invitation. A familiar feeling returned after months, or even years, of being buried beneath ordinary life. Maybe you dismissed it as coincidence. Maybe you convinced yourself it meant nothing. But what if every season prepares the way for another? What if every ending quietly plants the seed of a beginning you cannot yet see? Listen carefully. There is a story unfolding that reaches far beyond what your eyes can currently understand. It is not simply about two people crossing paths again. It is about growth. It is about healing. It is about becoming someone capable of recognizing love in a completely different way than before. Because love that returns is never meant to return exactly as it left. The version that disappeared belonged to another chapter. The version that may be approaching carries lessons, scars, wisdom, and questions that did not exist before. That changes everything. You may believe the greatest surprise is that someone could find their way back into your life. It isn't. The greatest surprise is who both of you have become while walking separate roads. Many people believe time only creates distance. Sometimes time creates understanding. Sometimes distance becomes the teacher that closeness could never be. Imagine two travelers climbing opposite sides of the same mountain. For years they cannot see one another. They believe the other has vanished forever. They wonder whether the journey still has meaning. Yet every step upward brings them closer, even though neither realizes it. Life often works the same way. While you believed nothing was happening, countless unseen moments were quietly shaping futures that neither of you could have imagined. There were lessons learned through disappointment. There were nights filled with reflection. There were dreams abandoned so better dreams could be discovered. There were mistakes that slowly transformed into wisdom. There were moments when pride lost its voice and humility finally began to speak. None of those moments were wasted. Every experience became another piece of a puzzle whose picture could only be understood after enough time had passed. You have changed. Whether you notice it or not, you no longer react exactly the way you once did. Your heart carries greater patience. Your spirit recognizes the value of peace. You understand that genuine connection cannot survive where fear controls every conversation. These changes matter more than you know. Because if someone from your past truly returned while neither of you had grown, history would simply repeat itself. But growth changes possibilities. Growth creates conversations that never could have happened before. Growth opens doors that once remained firmly closed. Still, there is something you should know. Not every return begins with a dramatic reunion. Sometimes it begins with uncertainty. Sometimes it begins with hesitation. Sometimes it begins with one person wondering whether forgiveness is even possible. That uncertainty is not weakness. It is evidence that the heart has learned the cost of rushing. A careful heart often carries the deepest sincerity. You may someday notice small reminders appearing around you. A familiar place. A meaningful song. A conversation that unexpectedly reminds you of someone you thought you had completely released. These moments do not demand immediate conclusions. Instead, they invite quiet reflection. Ask yourself an honest question. If tomorrow offered you another chance to speak with someone who once mattered deeply, would you speak from yesterday's pain? Or from today's wisdom? That answer reveals more than you realize. Because true preparation does not happen outside of you. It happens within you. Many people spend years hoping another person will change. Very few spend those same years allowing themselves to become someone capable of receiving a healthier future. Be one of those people. Allow every disappointment to become understanding instead of bitterness. Allow every unanswered question to become curiosity instead of fear. Allow every delay to strengthen your patience instead of weakening your hope. Life has an extraordinary way of preparing hearts before preparing meetings. That order is important. A prepared meeting without prepared hearts often becomes another goodbye. Prepared hearts can transform an ordinary conversation into a completely new beginning. There is another truth few people recognize. Sometimes someone who disappeared never truly forgot you. Life simply carried them through chapters they could not have predicted. Responsibilities arrived. Dreams changed. Perspective matured. The person who once believed they understood everything slowly realized how much they still needed to learn. Growth has a remarkable way of humbling even the strongest personalities. And humility often becomes the first step back toward honesty. Imagine receiving an unexpected opportunity to rewrite only one chapter of your story. Not the entire book. Just one chapter. Would you choose revenge? Or peace? Would you choose blame? Or understanding? Would you choose pride? Or truth? The future quietly grows from answers like these. Remember this carefully. No meaningful reunion can succeed if the past is allowed to become the loudest voice in every conversation. The past deserves respect. It does not deserve permanent control. There is a difference. One honors experience. The other imprisons possibility. Do not confuse the two. Some chapters exist to teach. Others exist to heal. The next chapter, whenever it arrives, should never become another courtroom where old mistakes are endlessly placed on trial. Instead, let it become a place where honesty finally speaks without fear. Perhaps that is what has been missing all along. Not love. Not hope. Not destiny. Simply honest conversation. Many relationships are not destroyed by lack of feeling. They are quietly weakened by words that were never spoken. Questions left unanswered. Apologies left unexpressed. Dreams never shared. Fears carefully hidden. Silence can sometimes build walls higher than disagreement ever could. If another opportunity truly appears, let truth arrive before assumptions do. Listen before judging. Understand before deciding. Breathe before reacting. Those simple choices possess more power than you currently imagine. And here is something even more remarkable. While you have been wondering whether someone remembers you, someone else may have been wondering whether you would ever welcome another conversation. Both hearts asking different questions. Both carrying different fears. Both hoping life might still contain one more unexpected miracle. The beautiful thing about hope is that it survives places where certainty cannot. Hope whispers when certainty remains silent. Hope continues walking after confidence becomes tired. Hope believes tomorrow may still carry answers hidden from today. Hold on to that hope. Not because it guarantees a specific outcome, but because hope keeps your heart open to possibilities that fear would immediately reject. As this story continues, an unexpected truth will begin revealing itself piece by piece. It is a truth that changes the meaning of everything you thought you understood about distance, timing, forgiveness, and second chances. The next chapter will uncover why certain events unfolded exactly when they did. And why what once looked like a permanent ending may have been the quiet beginning of something entirely different. The morning you have been waiting for has not arrived yet, but you are far closer to it than you realize. There is a quiet truth that most people never notice until long after it has changed their lives. Sometimes the heart senses a new beginning before the eyes can see it. That feeling you have struggled to explain, that unexpected calm mixed with unanswered questions, may not be random at all. It may simply be the first whisper of a chapter that has not fully opened. Your story has never been standing still. Even during the moments when everything felt silent, unseen pages were being written. Every lesson you learned, every tear that strengthened your spirit, every time you chose peace instead of bitterness, it all mattered more than you could possibly imagine. If someone from your past is preparing to return, understand this first. They are not returning to meet the same person they left behind. They are returning to meet the version of you that hardship quietly transformed. That changes everything. There was a time when emotion spoke louder than wisdom. There was a time when misunderstanding seemed impossible to overcome. There was a time when silence became stronger than conversation. But time has a remarkable way of teaching lessons that no one else can teach. While you were learning to value your own peace, someone else may have been learning the value of honesty. While you were discovering your own strength, someone else may have finally understood what they lost. Life often works in ways that only make sense when you look backward. Think about the seasons. Winter never asks permission before arriving. Spring never announces itself with loud promises. It simply appears, quietly replacing what once looked lifeless with unexpected beauty. Hearts often follow the same pattern. Someone who once walked away carrying confusion may now be carrying clarity. Someone who once believed distance was the answer may now understand that understanding was missing all along. But before any reunion can become meaningful, something important must happen. The past must stop controlling the future. Memories should become teachers, not prisons. If every new conversation begins by reopening old wounds, then nothing has truly changed. Real growth is revealed when two people speak with greater wisdom than they possessed before. That is the difference between repeating history and creating a new chapter. Perhaps you have wondered why certain doors remained closed. Perhaps you questioned why opportunities disappeared just when they seemed within reach. What if those delays were not punishments? What if they were preparations? Imagine trying to build a beautiful home on an unstable foundation. No matter how impressive it appears, it cannot endure. Relationships are no different. Without trust, without patience, without honesty, even the strongest feelings eventually struggle to survive. But foundations can be rebuilt. Not with perfect words. Not with impossible promises. Only with genuine change. That is why your own journey has been so important. You were never meant to become someone else's missing piece. You were meant to become whole within yourself. Only then can two complete journeys meet without losing themselves. That is where lasting peace begins. You may soon notice moments that feel strangely familiar. A place you had forgotten. A conversation that unexpectedly reminds you of someone. A memory that returns with unusual clarity. Instead of rushing toward conclusions, simply observe. Sometimes life gently prepares the heart before revealing the reason. There is another truth that deserves your attention. Not every apology begins with words. Sometimes change itself becomes the apology. Sometimes consistency speaks louder than promises ever could. Sometimes quiet actions reveal what years of conversation never managed to express. Watch for those moments. Because genuine transformation is rarely loud. It is steady. It is patient. It is real. Ask yourself something today. If the opportunity for a new beginning appeared tomorrow, would your first response be fear? Or hope? Would you focus on old disappointments? Or on everything both of you have learned since then? Your answer reveals the direction your heart is already moving. Remember this carefully. A meaningful reunion is not built upon perfect memories. It is built upon renewed understanding. People often spend years searching for the perfect moment. Yet the most meaningful moments are rarely perfect. They are honest. They are sincere. They are filled with quiet courage. That courage may soon become more important than you expect. Because the greatest conversations often begin with simple words. I understand now. I was wrong. I've changed. I never stopped wishing you well. Those words carry extraordinary power when they are spoken with authenticity. Never underestimate the strength of humility. It has restored what pride could never repair. The story unfolding before you is not asking you to ignore the past. It is inviting you to learn from it. Every disappointment carried a lesson. Every delay carried preparation. Every unanswered question strengthened your ability to recognize truth when it finally arrives. Perhaps that has been the hidden purpose all along. Not simply waiting for someone to return, but becoming the kind of person who can welcome a healthier future with wisdom instead of fear. And if that day truly comes, let your heart remember everything it has learned. Choose understanding before assumption. Choose patience before reaction. Choose honesty before silence. Because sometimes the most extraordinary chapters begin so quietly that only those who have learned to listen are able to recognize them. The next part of this journey reveals what may be happening behind the scenes even now, and why the timing of every step could be more meaningful than you ever imagined. There is one detail that changes the meaning of everything you have heard so far. What if the distance between you and the person you once cared about was never simply about separation? What if it was about preparation? Take a moment to imagine two clocks that have never been perfectly synchronized. One always runs ahead. The other always falls behind. Yet eventually, after countless adjustments, both point to the exact same moment. Life often works that way. People rarely grow at the same pace. One heart learns patience while another is still learning honesty. One person discovers forgiveness while another is only beginning to understand responsibility. The timing may feel delayed, but sometimes delay creates the very wisdom that makes a future conversation possible. Perhaps the person you once knew has spent more time reflecting than you realize. Perhaps they have revisited old memories with completely different eyes. The conversations they once avoided may now be the very conversations they wish they had embraced. Growth has a remarkable way of changing what once seemed impossible. Think back to the version of yourself from years ago. You are not that person anymore. Your dreams have changed. Your priorities have changed. Your understanding of love has changed. If you have transformed this much, is it impossible that someone else has transformed as well? Sometimes we expect people to remain exactly as we remember them. Life rarely allows that. Every experience leaves a mark. Every lesson shapes character. Every challenge teaches something that comfort never could. There is quiet strength in realizing that people are capable of becoming wiser than their past decisions. That realization creates hope. Not blind hope. Hope rooted in growth. Now imagine this. Somewhere, another person may be asking themselves questions they never asked before. What if I had listened more carefully? What if I had spoken more honestly? What if I misunderstood someone who genuinely cared? Questions like these do not appear overnight. They are usually born through experience. Experience softens certainty. Experience replaces pride with perspective. Experience reminds people that some opportunities deserve greater care than they once received. And that is why this moment matters. Because a reunion, if it ever happens, is not meaningful because two paths cross again. It is meaningful because those paths carry different travelers than before. You are no longer defined by yesterday's uncertainty. You have learned resilience. You have discovered that peace cannot depend entirely upon another person's choices. You have found moments of joy even while answers remained incomplete. That is quiet strength. Never underestimate it. A peaceful heart recognizes opportunities without becoming controlled by them. It welcomes possibility without surrendering wisdom. That balance is precious. If another chapter begins, let it begin with honesty instead of assumptions. Let curiosity replace fear. Let kindness replace old expectations. Let understanding become stronger than old misunderstandings. There is beauty in allowing people to reveal who they are today instead of judging them entirely by who they were yesterday. After all, every meaningful story contains transformation. Without transformation, there is no new chapter. Only repetition. Perhaps that is why your own journey has felt so important. You were not simply waiting. You were becoming. Becoming more patient. More thoughtful. More confident. More aware of what truly matters. Those qualities cannot be rushed. They are earned through ordinary days that quietly shape extraordinary futures. Sometimes the greatest preparation happens when nothing appears to be changing at all. Roots grow long before branches become visible. Foundations are completed long before the house appears. Character develops long before anyone else notices. Trust that unseen progress has value. Not every important change announces itself. Some of the most meaningful changes happen quietly, one choice at a time. Today, choose peace. Tomorrow, choose wisdom. Whenever life offers another opportunity, choose sincerity. Those simple choices have the power to transform ordinary moments into unforgettable ones. And remember this above everything else. No future is strengthened by carrying unnecessary resentment into every new conversation. Release what no longer serves your heart. Keep the lessons. Leave behind the weight. Move forward with clarity instead of fear. Whether someone returns or whether life surprises you in another beautiful way, become the kind of person who greets every new chapter with courage, compassion, and quiet confidence. Because the most extraordinary journeys are not defined by how they begin. They are remembered because of who we become along the way. The next chapter reveals why certain moments in your life seemed perfectly timed only after you looked back. And how every unexpected turn may have been guiding you toward a future richer in wisdom, hope, and genuine connection than you ever imagined.